They don't understand our love. They say we're not good enough. No matter what they say, oh, we are. We're having the time of our lives.
Once upon a time, no pregnant woman would reveal her due date, even if you ran into her on her way to the hospital. These days, we no longer keep our lives secret. It's no longer taboo to share personal information over the internet. There are almost no secrets. Some even put everything up as their BBM status or as their Facebook pages for all to see. I'm not saying this is wrong. I'm just wondering, what has changed in the past few years? Has our exposure to Western lifestyle made us less secretive, less private? But one also wonders why the same exposure has not made us more tolerant of each other's religion and cultures. My name is Tabia Princewell, and you are welcome to another exciting episode of Walk the Talk. Don't go away.
In the time of our lives.
Welcome back. Browsing through social media these days, you see all sorts of things, from updates about spousal fights to what was had for dinner. Some have their whole day's itinerary online, making it extremely easy to stalk them. Helene, my dependable co-host, is here, as well as Chioma, our regular guest co-host. Before we continue, let's see this video. So ladies, is our culture disappearing? What do you guys think?
To a certain extent, it is, isn't it? I mean, with the world becoming a global village these days, it just seems as if we have everybody else's culture in ours, except our own. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I'm the father because she said disappearing. It's gone.
Do you think it's that bad?
It has left.
It's okay.
Culture has left the building.
Yes, it has.
Since it has left. And I think it's sad because you think about like your own childhood, or let me say my own childhood, and how, you know, we knew things about ourselves.
Simpler.
It was simpler. It wasn't too much of rocket science. Now it's like,
But then what again?
Then
again, what do you call culture? Because culture is something that's meant to reinvent itself over time. Like when I was younger, you know, it wasn't so cool to listen to Nigerian music. It wasn't so cool to dress the way we're dressed now, actually.
Yeah.
And then nowadays, you know, African fashion is really on a global stage. People are wearing Ankara fabric. People are really rocking that whole, you know, ethnocentric, you know.
Group, yeah.
So in a way, I feel like we may have lost some things, but we've also gained a few.
Yeah,
So
well, but I mean, I guess you can say that we were losing and we're gaining. But on the level of how in touch are we with our roots?
Yes.
Okay.
It's pretty much non-existent because these days I don't even know to blame it on technology, but everything that we used to know as growing up, and even our generation, because you know our parents would say they knew more about our culture than we do, and now we're saying, oh, we know more about our culture than the people now. These children of today, No, but. Yes, fashion sort of like is one of the things that keeps it there because we have now.
But I think, let me put it to you this way. I'm the first one to say how happy and proud I am that African music, fashion is literally now becoming more mainstream. I love that. But I think what is a bit sad about it is while all of those things are happening, we're losing our own flavor. What makes us different to being American, French, English, Chinese, or whatever? Do you understand? It's that flavor. I wish, as much as we're moving with the times,
Yeah.
let's put it that way, we could retain what makes
yes,
us,
our
our
essence.
own identity. Do you understand? And not necessarily trying to recreate what has
We're
already
trying to
been
give
done.
our culture a flair.
Yes.
A flair of westernization. That is
Yes.
like culture
It's
is in a
spin on-
side of Americana or
I
a side
know,
of British.
but wouldn't it be amazing if we could take our own
Yes.
things and make those mainstream? Meaning, instead of it being other people trying to literally influence
Yes.
us, meaning change us, why not? We have what it takes to change their ways too,
Yeah.
or influence their ways also, be it through our own language and slang, our fabrics, our music, the way we dance and so on. Imagine if
Let us be the main course.
on your week
Yeah.
game,
Let us
you
be
could
the main
learn
course.
to dance skilly. Fancy that.
Yeah,
And you're
on the-
there
yeah.
on your console and you're learning those moves.
Not that I know what Kelewu means.
Okay, maybe that was a bad example.
on my-
PG, you're right. Okay.
Not that
Give me another dance.
Kelewu
Give me
will help you.
another
Another
dance.
dance.
You get the general gist.
Yes.
Okay.
Kelewu is a very good dance. It's a good workout too.
True. But we won't
It
talk
actually
about what
is.
it actually, we'll forget about that.
Yeah,
PG,
exactly.
PG. I'm one, be appropriate.
The next thing I think we should discuss is how do we control our exposure to the Western world? Because I heard this speech by Fela Durotoye recently, and what he was saying was, isn't it amazing how a group of people, Europeans, decided at one point in time that we're going to colonize a space that's twice the size of theirs. They sat down and said, we are going to make this place our own, give them our ideas, our identity, our everything. And we just, we took it, and we're still taking it. So wouldn't it be incredible if we all came together the same way they did and said, you know what, now it's our turn. Let the world, hear and see what we have,
But the way we do that, and I guess, let's make our own noise and let our noise shut them up for
Yeah.
me. But will we agree to do that? That's because I think
yeah.
I think it's almost like we believe that their way is better, or let's say their way sells. Their way is what's working
It's
right
more
now.
mainstream
So
for
that's
now.
why even everything from where you went to school, abroad schooling people, and some of us just happen to fall in that category, have a leg up.
Yeah.
In when it comes to getting a job, as opposed to those who were in school here. Now here's where you get a funny vibe.
Yeah.
You're in school here. School here is good. What spoils our own country?
System,
What
yeah.
spoils our land? What spoils our healthcare system? What spoils our educational system?
Yeah.
We
Yes.
are our problem, and
We're our worst
and
enemies.
exactly. I was telling someone the other day. I said Nigeria is like someone you give medicine after death. You don't give us the medicine and say take this Panadol to cure your headache. You let us pass out first.
Then you start reviving.
Then you inject us with it.
Or you say,
then we wake up and say,
see,
oh, there's no
you
headache
should
again.
have taken
What happened?
that thing, no,
Yes,
Chineke, you
exactly.
should have taken
That Panadol I was
it.
telling you about
My
before,
God.
I had to slap you with it for you to get the message. That's because we don't know, and we don't want to hear anything. As far as I'm concerned, Americana is better. But here's my thing. Now, how about we do this? We go abroad. It's just like they did. So they came and took. We go there, take, come back, and let this be better. But we're not getting that message.
Because we don't have the foundation for such things.
Exactly.
It's like just a surface veneer.
Yes.
It's always
Exactly.
just veneer.
As they say now, wash.
Superficial.
Yes.
So, ladies, let's take this short break. And when we get back, we'll meet with our guests for the day.
We're having the time of our lives. We're having the time of our lives.
And we're back. And I'm excited. Why? Because we have two substantial guests here with us today. And I'm sure when you hear their names, you too will be intrigued enough to want to hear what they have to say about our internet sharing generation. First is a veteran broadcaster, Patrick, who traveled all over Nigeria and brought us closer together via NTA's flagship program, Newsline. Who can forget that one? And next is another NTA veteran and media darling, the ever graceful and eloquent I call her auntie. Ladies and gentlemen, Kehinde Young-Harry. You both are very welcome.
Thank you for having
How are
us.
you?
Have you been staying with her or something?
No.
So where did all this rub off from?
It's sort
Just
of like it's her aura.
linked-
I'm always,
okay, well,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
I'm trying to be graceful
Yes,
and eloquent like she is.
you know.
It's a work in progress. We're so glad to have you in the studio with us today.
Yes, we do.
And we can't wait to hear what you have to say about our generation, even though we're sort of like from the same generation because you both are young.
Thank you.
That's why her name is Young-Harry. Don't forget.
Thank you. Don't forget the name.
Really.
Exactly. So, but we also want to hear what you have to say about our generation. And so we've done some research, and we've come up with some questions that we want to ask you just to hear your views.
Yes.
So we'll quickly go through them.
Yes.
All right. Looking at people today, what has changed in their behavior and their mindsets? What would you say?
That's a loaded one. A lot. And for me, it's not for the better, unfortunately. And I can reel them off. First of all, I mean, take this what I call new phenomenon. Two people are talking. A third one comes in. Without so much as by your leave, excuse me, he or she starts talking to one of the two and totally ignores, I mean, it might be a dog or a donkey or a piece of furniture. He or she does not acknowledge the other. I think it's the height of rudeness. The thing to do is, excuse me,
Or even hello.
hello, excuse me, and you turn to whoever it is. And who you're talking to, I believe, ought to
Should have the
introduce
decency
the decency to introduce and all that. But all of that is lost on today's generation. I mean, the whole concept of manners maketh the man. I mean,
I think in their own time, they're more, there's much more interpersonal engagement now in a way, although each person is like competing unconsciously all the time. But, you know, they're creative in it. So actually they engage each other more now, but it's always from my own point of view.
that's what I'm
You
trying-
know,
that's
what's
what I
in
find,
it for me. Yes. So
what I object to.
Yes,
I
yes.
I think is a height of rudeness, if you ask.
yes, it is. But it's also their generation.
How does religion, come about in, this change that we've mentioned in our society? Because, people, you notice that it's becoming increasingly difficult for people to cohabit all over the world. And you just see that religion is kind of changing mindsets, and not always for the better, especially in our African society. People are more suspicious of each other, whereas, I don't know,
A lot of it's difficult to have a balance between religion as it's supposed to be and a certain, should we say, interpretation of how religion should be.
Well, I think Kenny will, I'm sure, has her own opinion on this. But the first thing I say, if you take the Christian religion, for example, Christ was actually the first civilizer. Because earlier on, we defined being civil as, caring about how other people feel. Or, what their needs are, what makes them comfortable. And
So why has that changed?
Exactly. So that's why Christ said, everything about the other person, in fact, they have J-O-Y, joy, Jesus, others before yourself. You know what I'm saying? But, people have turned religion upside down. They have made it a way of, kind of emphasizing the differences rather than the love that should...
Of bringing people
Yes.
together.
Christ himself said the two basic tenets of religion, love for God and love of neighbor. And if everybody sees religion this way, then there'll be no problem
in the
with
world.
cohabiting.
There's a little point I want to make. When I was growing up in Lagos, you could hardly tell who was Christian, who was Muslim. Everybody celebrated Salah, everybody celebrated Christmas. In fact, in the same family, you'd have some that are Muslims, some that are Christians. And to my utter shock and disgust nowadays, I hear friends say, it's Salah. Please, I can't eat Salah meat. I'm a born-again Christian. It's forbidden.
That's what you get when you remove love out of religion. The basic tenet of religion at all is that God is love. And he shares this love to all his creatures. And all his creatures become wholesome when they share in this ultimate, thing that is God. So when you remove the love from religion, that's when you get all these kind of divisions. And then, of course, emptiness. And the new kind of Christians who are coming up now to think that, condemning everybody else,
It's a good
you
thing.
know, so condemning everybody else, they're not good enough, they're not saved, they're not going to be raptured, they're the only ones who will be raptured, So all these kind of things are what you're talking about. Oh, I can't go to his house, it's Muslim, I can't go to his house, it's Christian. But basically, that's not what religion is about.
At all.
It affects every aspect of our lives.
It does.
It affects everything from TV, from entertainment, everything. What we used to worry about before, now we're not worried about it anymore. I was telling myself, I said, when last did somebody ask, where is Zamaye? Where is Beatrice? Where is Bello? No,
Wait, they don't belong to your generation. Now,
What you remember?
Those are things that everyone
your
remembers.
generation is Kim Kardashian, two-face, three-face, four-face, touch your toe, even the music has changed.
I think the problem is also, what you call the thinking class in Africa. Because abroad, again, there are people who cater to different, tastes in entertainment.
Yes.
So even if you have the cocoa masters doing cocolets and doing babylets and mamalets all over the place, you still have people who are still interested in providing you with business-leds, who can still speak fairly seriously but still engage you and entertain you at the same time.
Except that there are very few now.
Exactly, there are very
Everybody
few. So where did they all go?
If you
Where did they
listen
go?
to the music that, is bringing up you guys, it's so basic. There's no intro, there's no climax, there's no, it goes bang, 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 and bang, 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 right from beginning to the end. They're in between, they can put, but music can add there.
What does that mean?
Don Jazzy, there's a new version of your song, Mama.
Oh, is it Don Jazzy? I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that.
No, but it's true. We literally make up words that mean nothing.
Yes. Well, the thing is that, there is
it
some
mean?
creativity in art.
I'm
If
sorry.
art is not creative, then it's not art. And music is art, so it has to be creative. It has
And it has to be meaningful too.
Exactly, it has to be meaningful, it has to have some form of a story.
Yes.
The waves tell the story.
Yeah.
The music rises, it goes as a crescendo, then it comes down, it goes
Oh no,
with the
computer can do all of
rhythm
that now.
Yeah, so computer just go boom, 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 boom. Yeah, then you just put voice in it. And
then Kim Kardashian.
Let's not
Don't let me start on her. She and her family, as far as I'm concerned, they are everything that is wrong with TV these days. I know the young people won't agree with me because those in my house, every time I come downstairs, they're on
But
keeping up
actually,
with.
the young people of these days should actually go behind and just weep. Why? Because in our day, we had things like Mirror in the Sun, Village Headmaster,
shows too,
and
New
all the
Master.
shows.
But we like
until-
those shows
No, wait.
Where did they
You-
go?
wait,
They like them as well.
So where did they
Wait,
go?
wait,
I
you
want to
guys-
watch them.
Where is Beatrice? Where is Beatrice?
Well, you guys, I'd just like to ask you something. If a Nigerian wants to go home to watch television now, what local program is he actually going to rush home and watch?
And watch, there isn't.
NTA.
True. Walk the talk.
NTA?
Walk the talk.
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 Exactly.
Walk the talk.
Where's
the talk.
CC?
That is
Walk
what they're
the
going
talk.
to watch.
Oh, yeah.
So that's where your challenge is. We're not having any local productions anymore that people can actually look forward to.
Yeah.
Most of what you see is like, for example, I see some Nigerian
It's the
soaps
music
and,
videos.
and
That's
the
on
dialogue is straight from Hollywood. People are using music
Things that don't
themes
normally
that
happen
are
in
just
Nigeria.
out of
And
place.
accents that nobody
Yes,
understands
true.
but the
Yes,
person
Yes.
that is spewing it out.
So there's nothing real anymore. So there's something attractive about what is real.
Yes.
So if everybody's pretending to be so westernized, and so civilized, and everything, and then we're leaving the real things, it's no wonder people are not being touched.
Exactly.
You understand? I tell people sometimes, yes, you want to sell some very nice sites about Nigeria, you sell tourism to the world, but my friend, what's wrong with selling our crudity?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Very
It's
true.
uniquely us.
Yes, I mean, you go to
Yes.
some place, some village that is really a village.
Beautiful
And
places.
the beautiful thing is like,
Raw
you're wondering,
beauty.
how do these people survive?
Yeah.
Raw
That is the
beauty.
reality.
After all, that's what Kenyans do, for example.
And that was what the original Newsline was
It
all
was,
about.
yes,
That's
yes.
what got it to,
Yes,
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 how
yes.
it became NT's flagship show in those days.
So right now, to me, it's like we've sold our TV rights to
foreigners.
And then we have no control of it anymore.
Anymore. Well, that's a challenge for you young people.
This is our issue.
Content-wise.
This is why we're here.
And that's why we're going to do
That's
this.
why we're here.
That's why we're going to do it. And we could go on and on and on with this particular issue, but we can't because we have things to do. Don't go anywhere. First of all, I want to say thank you to our guests for coming.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. I hope we walk the talk sufficiently.
Yes,
You walk the talk.
Oh, they more than walked it. They stepped on it. They ran it. Yes, they did. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Let's go pay some bills. And when we come back, Helene is going to give us all the things that make you go, Don't go anywhere. Stay right here.
In the time of our lives.
What has blown my mind recently? Very often, I'm amazed by the gadgets people come up with. In these days of healthier lifestyles, many recommend the air fryer. Yep, you heard that, the air fryer. If you're like me, wondering how could air possibly fry food? Well, here we go. Fried foods have been linked to many health problems, hence the idea of air frying, which cooks your food using hot air instead of oil, lowering the fat content while keeping all the nutrients you need. Sounds brilliant. Healthy fast food. A dream come true if you're not that person who constantly keeps track of what their calorie intake is during the day. This just might be for you. What do you think? So, think about it. How would your chicken and your chips taste? How about your plantain? Do you like your dodo shiny or matte? You know, looks are everything these days.
In the time of our lives.
Wow, what a day. I simply wish we could keep going, but hey, all good things come to an end. A big thank you to our guests, Kehinde Young-Harry and Patrick Oke, for joining us today. Until next time, remember, keep your heels as high as your hopes and walk the talk. That's running in heels towards your destiny.
They don't understand our love. They say we're not good enough. No matter what they say. Oh, we are. We're having the time of our lives.